Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. We're coming back with another wild one. And it looks like Cathy Englebert is deep in some serious trouble after bombshell reports surfaced that she allegedly sold a percentage of the WNBA behind the scenes. Yeah, you heard that right. Things are getting messy at the top. For this one, we've got to head straight up to New York City because that's where this storm is brewing. Let's get it. Let's go. So if you thought things couldn't get any worse for WNBA Commissioner Cathy Englebert, think again because they just did. More people are digging into what's really been going on inside the league office, and the findings aren't looking too good. Now, we've got a lot to unpack in this video. First, there's the claim that Cathy sold off part of the WNBA, raising some major questions about who actually owns what now. Then, on top of that, there's talk of the league's top executives trying to reach a settlement on the new CBA deal, a move that's already stirring up frustration among players. Apparently, the players haven't agreed to anything yet, but there's already a proposal floating around. And what's crazy is that all this chaos got completely overshadowed by the WNBA finals. The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. All this info dropped right before tip-off, and everyone was so focused on the game that they kind of ignored it. But now that the finals are over, and yes, the Las Vegas Aces took it again, people are finally starting to pay attention. Now, let's head over to X, formerly Twitter, where this whole thing has been blowing up. Shout out to Van Shea, who reposted parts of an article originally published by Front Office Sports. Those guys have been absolutely on fire with their coverage. They've been dropping story after story on Cathy Englebert's handling of the WNBA's finances and internal decisions. And if you remember what happened at the finals last night, yeah, Cathy got booed on live TV, that moment now makes a lot more sense. The fans clearly aren't happy, and this new report might be why. So buckle up, because this one's just getting started. We're about to break down exactly what Front Office Sports revealed, what it means for the WNBA's future, and whether Cathy Englebert's time as commissioner might be running out. It says right here, the lead source told Front Office Sports that the capital raise was a costly mistake for Cathy Englebert. Yep, you heard that, a costly mistake. Now, a lot of people out there were saying Cathy probably wouldn't get fired, that maybe this would all just blow over, but from what I'm hearing, that might not be the case anymore. The talks behind the scenes are getting louder, and this situation right here could be the final straw. This might just be the justification the league needs to move on from her. In 2022, she led a $75 million capital raise, selling a 16% stake in the WNBA in what the league said was an effort to fund the league's marketing and infrastructure. It quickly became clear that the stake, with an implied valuation of $468 million, dramatically undervalued the league, and questions remain about how the $75 million was invested. So yeah, it's definitely looking spooky for Cathy right now, especially with this whole $75 million investment deal hanging over her head. The more people dig into it, the worse it starts to look. What was supposed to be a big win for the league might end up being the very thing that comes back to haunt her. Unrivaled, a startup league whose ratings and attendance are a sliver of the WNBA's, recently closed a round of funding at a $340 million valuation. The New York Liberty recently sold stakes at a $450 million valuation. By any estimation, the league, which has recently sold several expansion slots for $250 million each, is worth billions of dollars, not less than $500 million. It also muddied the league's ownership picture, which has been an issue in CBA negotiations. The WNBA stakeholders are divided into three groups. The NBA's 30 owners control 42% of the league, the WNBA owners control another 42%, and the remaining 16% is owned by the investors from the capital raise. Owners like Ted Loensis, Joe Tsai, and Herb Simon, that's who currently owns the Indiana Fever, all of whom own NBA teams, WNBA teams, and were part of the capital raise, now have 3 different stakes in the WNBA. Now, all of this really boils down to one thing: Cathy deciding to sell 16% of the WNBA. That's where the whole storm started. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of folks still don't believe Cathy's actually going to get fired over this, but honestly, I think she definitely will. This right here feels like clear grounds for her removal. Now, shout out to Ben Shea, who said it best. To be fair, the WNBA landscape looked a lot different in 2022. Now people are chomping at the bit to invest in support. And that's true. Back then, maybe the deal made sense. But right now, it's looking real spooky. Someone even pointed out, I had a theory days ago that made me wonder how things shifted this fast. People didn't feel comfortable with one person holding that much power, especially over the league's future. And when you think about it, Caitlin Clark reportedly generating nearly 26% of the league's revenue. That says everything you need to know about where the growth is coming from. The fans aren't blind. They see who's driving the momentum. So yeah, between Cathy's decision to sell part of the league and the new wave of player-driven popularity, this whole situation is starting to feel like it's reaching a breaking point. Someone posted this. The most interesting thing about the WNBA and the conflict when it comes to the percent is, I'm wondering, besides hiding the data, investors inside and out have been debating to shut the league down. I ask because, sure, there is a blatant disrespect even how things went during the WNBA bubble. If I was to wonder, it like the NBA has things moving like top-tier Hollywood studios or TV stations, and WNBA like an upcoming artist in a 360 deal. I don't want to speak hyperbole, but no matter how insanely great the W Players has had for 28 years, Caitlin existing might have saved the league and provided a wait a minute type of energy to those who've been up top. That's why I've said for years where the WNBA is now is where the NBA was in the 80s. I can see why Cathy, at face, is a villain, but also sounds like the people she answered to could a real villain. But then the question is, between fans and up top, who was doing great at doing their part consistently, even before last year? I understood was Napisa Kid. I can maybe see why some might think conflict of interest because of what her business ventures looking like for her, and you wonder if plus something is personal or players. Yeah, man, the WNBA's current storm isn't just about numbers, ownership percentages, or even Cathy Englebert's decisions. It's about power, perception, and survival. For nearly 3 decades, this league has fought for space, respect, and recognition in a system that often treats it like an experiment rather than a professional empire in the making. Caitlin Clark's arrival reignited a spark, a reminder that women's basketball can move culture and make money when given the right platform. But as all this unfolds, one truth remains clear. The WNBA can't grow if those at the top keep operating in secrecy or out of fear. Whether the issue lies with leadership, investors, or even the players themselves, the league's next chapter will depend on unity, not silence. If history repeats itself, like the NBA in the 80s, then maybe this chaos is just the beginning of something great. The question now is, who's really ready to build the future, and who's just here to profit from it?
Moving on to another story. So this right here is going to be big news today. Now, this is probably going to be you guys' first time hearing about this. This is basically saying a new CBA proposal from the WNBA includes a supermax salary closer to $850,000, sources tell FOS. The veteran minimum would more than triple, hovering around $300,000. But at the end of the day, that's the problem right there. Until the WNBA truly values its players and invests in them the way other leagues do, it's always going to be stuck in the same place. You can't expect growth when the people putting in the work don't feel rewarded. These women are changing the game, bringing in record views, selling out arenas, and yet the pay doesn't reflect that impact. So yeah, maybe it's time for the league to wake up, because if they don't, someone else will. And when that happens, the WNBA might just lose the very stars who built it.
I want to know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Like, seriously, this off-season's about to be wild. Things on the channel might look a little different too. I might switch it up, try some new stuff, but don't worry, anything Caitlin Clark does, you know I'm on it. This offseason might feel long, but it's going to be packed with drama, especially if this lockout rumor turns out to be true. We've never seen that in the WNBA before, so this could be historic. And of course, we've got free agency coming up, trades, roster moves, all that good stuff. Then the WNBA draft lottery hits in December, which always shakes things up. So yeah, stay tuned because this offseason might just be crazier than the actual season.